Welcome back. Dry January, it's when people cut out alcohol for the first month of the new year, is more popular than ever. And while it might be a nice break from drinking for some, it's not always a solution for an alcohol use disorder. So in this week's Wellness Wednesday, Mary Jo Horton from Memorial Health is helping us recognize warning signs of an alcohol use problem and what to do if you're concerned that you might have a problem. So let's first talk with, you use the term alcohol use disorder instead of like alcoholism. Is there a reason there?
So when we look at disorders, we really are, the DSM and the diagnostic manual is very clear that it's not about alcoholism, it's about, is there a disorder attached to a behavior or symptom? And in this case, people's use of alcohol can become disordered.
And so disorder makes it a very diagnosable thing, right?
Absolutely. So anytime you're thinking of a disorder, it's something that it's impairing your functioning. So people get caught up in like frequency of use or quantity, and that's really not what it's about. It's your relationship with the object or the substance and your functioning.
Okay, so let's get into that, because you say some of the warning signs, you start with a person's relationship with alcohol. Talk about that.
So is this the only way that you cope? Is this your relationship becomes more important than other relationships in your life? That's a real big signal that you might have entered into the danger zone.
All right, so functioning is impaired and yet the use continues.
Right, so you find like it's impacting your work. You're not able to sleep. It's causing your anxiety to increase. Maybe you've had some legal issues and yet you are unable to stop despite that.
Problems with work, relationships, health.
Yes. So, I mean, let's think about this. If people in your life are telling you they're concerned and you know that they're supportive, loving people, this should be a signal for you to question and reflect.
And you should believe them because they love you.
Absolutely.
And so if you're not believing them.
When you're starting to lie, you're becoming deceptive. And really when you're choosing the alcohol over your relationships, it's a sign that we need to look further.
You know, I always tell people, if you have any vice and that vice starts to affect the things in your life you care the most about, there is a problem.
There's a problem.
You need to try and give that up.
And quite frankly, when people have a problem with alcohol, their relationship with alcohol is poor and mean. Alcohol's become their foe, and yet they stay around like an abusive relationship.
Well, I'll tell you, so, you know, in my 20s in college, I am guilty of binge drinking on the weekends. That carried into my 20s, and I reached a point where that had to stop because it was going to start getting in the way of some things. But for someone who has a disorder, you can't just click like that and it's done.
Exactly. Oh yeah, when I reflect on my 20s, I don't know what that girl was thinking. But if you're unable to adapt to your new goals and your values and your life, and that is still present, then that's holding you back from experiencing the life that you want, and it's a problem.
Okay. So let's talk about some possible ways to deal with this, what you should do if you have a concern. You say ask a loved one for support and accountability.
So that's the big piece. So we want, you know, we don't want to live in secrets and shame. And the way that we don't is we talk openly. I'm concerned. This is a behavior I want to stop. So you're inviting that loved one to say, hey, you told me that this was important, and I see that you're not doing the things that you shared are important.
And then if the loved one, you come to the loved one, make sure if you are the loved one to be open to that and not shame them.
That's correct. So shame encourages use. We want to encourage people to grow.
Connect to the recovery community and seek out wellness, right?
So when we think of the recovery community, there are so many options. There are so many different types of group. Just because one person in recovery or that meeting or that group was not for you, keep trying to connect with people who may offer you feedback of support.
Because we always hear about AA, but if AA is not for you, you can try other
And
groups.
there's all different types of AA meetings. Don't just assume that the AA meeting that you were at was like everybody else's AA meeting. There are women's only, there are trauma, there's men's groups, there's daytime.
All right, and like almost any addiction, you can experience withdrawals, you can feel unsafe, you say get help.
So if you're starting to feel suicidal, if you're starting to question reality, if you've become paranoid, or if you're physically unwell, you need medical care.
Okay, all right, Mary Jo, thank you so much. We wanted to have this discussion because dry January,
Yes.
we've got Super Bowl weekend coming up. We know that's a big drinking
Yeah,
weekend for
yeah.
people. And then, of course, St. Patrick's Day is coming up next month.
Absolutely, and we
Yeah.
want people to enjoy their lives without this hindering it.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Thanks.
All right. And remember, everybody, if you want to see any of these segments, just go to WSAV.com/Wellness Wednesday.